So this next news article reads like it's literally out of the Showtime TV series Weeds, where we have the headline, more than 50 medical professionals, including 31 doctors, are charged in an illegal opioid distribution scheme involving 32 million pills across 5 states. This story has everything that you can imagine: sex, extortion, fraud, and a lot of people are celebrating this, but I kind of want to provide some contradictory context here, as well as important context when it comes to the larger social aspect of this that I think is being largely ignored by the news media. But Jason, this story in itself is very sensational, to say the least. I mean, feel free to stop me at any time, but we have 60 people here charged for their alleged roles in this massive illegal opioid distribution scheme. This is all done by the Department of Justice. The people charged are spanning 5 states. This includes 31 doctors, 7 pharmacists, 8 nurses, and over 350,000 illegal prescriptions and 32 million pain pills. I want to take it from here, Jason.
Hey, your camera.
I know. Take it from here, and I will change the battery.
All right, I'll just edit this out. So, folks, we have 7 different states. We have all sorts of abuses here. We have things like sexual favors for opioids. We have overcharging, overprescribing that led to actual overdoses and deaths. Of course, addictions from opioids. We even have doctors prescribing opioids to their friends on Facebook through Facebook Messenger. Not to mention the dentists that pulled teeth, not because they needed to be pulled, but because the opioid addicts wanted more opioids. Can you imagine being that desperate for a drug, Luke, that you would put yourself through that type of pain and have a tooth pulled just to get your fix?
I mean, what are we talking about here, Jason? We're talking about heroin. We're talking about legalized heroin done by the biggest, most powerful, most trusted institutions in our country. OxyContin pretty much was one of the major pills that has been creating this huge opioid crisis in the United States. A lot of people put blame on these doctors and these nurses, and there does deserve to be some blame. But let's take a look at the bigger picture here, because OxyContin pretty much is the gateway drug to heroin. It's pretty much the opioids are pretty much legalized heroin. And again, people are abusing it at an all-time high because what do you expect? Now, of course, most of the kind of heroin comes from Afghanistan, and there's a different thing that we could talk about. But if we have someone prescribed legalized heroin, all right, they're going to get addicted to it. Then when the doctor cuts them off, they're going to come back and say, hey, I need my fix. I need my heroin. What happened? The withdrawal symptoms are excruciating. You think people take heroin just to take heroin? No. I met one person that was just in a car accident. The doctor gave him some pills, told him it was pain pills, and the dude was in so much pain and so much addiction withdrawal that he literally went to the streets to get heroin. This is why we're also seeing a big increase of heroin use in the United States, because of this legalized big pharma. And solutions to it, like Kratom, we see the DEA just ban them. Many people have reported alleviating symptoms and a solution towards this opioid crisis. Many people are seeing Kratom as doing that. The DEA has literally banned that. And what happens with OxyContin? Literally, even former New York City mayor and Donald Trump lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, he's the one that literally was working with OxyContin, making sure that they could continue some of their sales, they could protect some of their profits, and shield some of their executives from prosecution. Because as we documented on this show, there's a huge legal case happening right now with Purdue Pharmaceutical, the one responsible for OxyContin, settling out of court time and time again for, of course, what people are seeing as abuse. And people are saying, no, the addict is responsible. And I would kind of, again, on a minimal level, yeah, there's some truth in that. But the bigger scale here, the bigger thing that needs to be addressed with what America is dealing with is, of course, these larger industries, which, again, OxyContin was even approved for children. This is how insane it got. But when we look at this case, are you surprised? I am not. Because when you have people on heroin coming back, getting cut off from heroin, of course they're going to come back and say, hey, I'll have sex with you. Hey, take out my teeth. I need this, the symptoms of heroin withdrawal out of me. I need it to stop. And this is ultimately what happened here. And it's a very sad case. Anything else you want to say on this specifically, Jason?
Well, absolutely, man. I want to talk about the fact that, again, a lot of people are doing this for profit. They knew that Medicaid and Medicare would actually pay for these opioids. So you have what was described by CBS and others as a federally funded drug operation. And make no mistake about it, some of these quote-unquote physicians or doctors do not have your best interests, your well-being truly at heart. They have profit motives. Profit motives. And that's why this spans 7 different states: Alabama, Kentucky, Louisiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and West Virginia. This is a federal operation. I'm very glad that the Department of Justice is finally starting to take this seriously. Now,
well, if they did take it seriously, they would go to Wall Street. They would go to the big pharma companies. Sorry, Jason.
No, you know what, Luke? And that was the next point I was about to make. It's nice to see that these lower level doctors and pushers are being brought to accountability. But the bottom line is, when Purdue goes out there, Purdue Pharmaceuticals, and settles lawsuits, guess what? Money goes away, but the people responsible do not. They do not go to jail. And the only way we're going to start seeing a huge change in this is not only taking away profit motives, because believe me, they've made their profits no matter how much they pay out in these lawsuits. That's already been established. Is, hey, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison. Maybe I should think twice before becoming a legitimized, federally funded heroin supplier. It's disturbing. It's disgusting. I'm very glad that this is starting to not only come to light, but be prosecuted. But I really think that we have to change the type of policies we have surrounding these type of drugs. And not only the drugs, because you look at something like Bayer Pharmaceuticals and Monsanto, our food, our water, everything that's going into our bodies. If these people are actually acting in a criminal sense against humanity, why aren't we putting them in jail?
I mean, Jason, like you said before, these are just petty street dealers. These are just the kind of peon little minions of a larger problem that we can only hope, Jason. We can only hope that there's going to be some ramifications behind the bigger kind of gangsters and mobsters that are really behind this, because the mobsters that created this are ultimately interlocked with government. Another reason for anarchy, but that's a whole other different discussion. But again, the government created this. They're going after the little petty drug dealers. Why not go after the big guys? Again, there's legal cases. Hopefully there will be. But time again, we have seen large industries buy out the justice system, get a slap on the wrist. We've seen it in the banking industry. We've seen it in the pharma industry. And right now we're living in a very precarious kind of online situation where even me and you had to have conversations being like, hey, we can't talk about this big pharma aspect, because automatically, even if you do right now on social media, you'll get automatically taken down. We even talked about doing a separate kind of video on a separate platform, just talk about all the news when it comes to medical censorship of course, alternatives to, of course, big pharma, which is also becoming the #1 enemy of the censorers out there. But a lot of things to consider here. Again, some people are happy. I guess, yes, it's good that the street dealers are gone, but this problem won't go away unless you deal with the root of it, and that is corruption within pharma and big government. And until you address that, this is going to continue to be a problem. But now we're finally getting an eye on it to see people literally turning to sexual favors and taking out their teeth just to get a hit of that heroin that big pharma put out there and the doctors doled out there in an incentive-based, profit-based system that doesn't serve the welfare or the basic well-being of our people. Anything else you want to say, Jason?
No, that's about it. I want to remind people that we are doing 3 videos on the backup, 1 on the main every single day. So make sure that you
and a live stream. Sorry to cut you off one more time. And a live stream on we'll have the links in there. Can't even talk about the links. And I do another secret live stream somewhere else on another platform. That's all I could say.
So if you're not, please subscribe to both platforms, ring those bells, share this stuff on social media. But most importantly, guys, you got to get out there and be the change you want to see in the world.